What a bully! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that! He's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day. And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby.
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Comes up a shot.
Oh, what a goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast full-time show. And why am I in the bottom? We'll have to leave it like that now, lads. Someone's been messing about. No, I'm only messing. But yeah, welcome to the... It's definitely Emerson. It's got to be Emerson. Welcome to the latest episode of the full-time show. Unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about a bad performance and we're going to get depressed and people are probably going to fall out in the comments. We've already had John here saying disgusting performance, keeping in line with the theme of the season so far. Kompany out. We'll get on to that later, but Kompany in from me because I'm incredibly sensible. But somebody in the Turfcast ranks has changed their mind on that. We'll get to that later. But as you can see in the top left corner, which is usually my spot, and I'm not angry about it at all, is Neil. How you doing, mate?
I'm in charge. I'm all right, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good, thank you. We've also got Sam, the Jets fan from Clarets Roundup. How you doing, mate?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. Yourself?
Yep, I'm all right. And as you can see, we've got YouTube royalty in the bottom left next to me. We've put the YouTube lads on the bottom, the YouTube royalty on the bottom. It's Liam Warrington, better known as Vizza. How you doing, mate?
I'm not doing good, lad. I'll be honest. I'm not doing good whatsoever.
Fair enough.
I said earlier that it's got so bad that only one of us has become a different fan of a different club and another one's changed sports. So that kind of shows where I've got this year. So,
and I've just given up altogether. I'm wearing black for Burnley.
You know a boo-hoo model, mate.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that the Turfcast podcast full-time show is officially sponsored by Wave Car Finance. Wave Car Finance are a local car finance company who specialise in getting you your dream car through their fantastic one-to-one personalised service. Their finance-first approach ensures that you can secure the very best finance deal, and a deal tailored to suit you, and then they can even settle any existing finance and swap your current car into a new one. And to celebrate this brilliant new partnership with Wave Car Finance and Turfcast, if you mention Turfcast podcast to them, they will give you a voucher worth up to £200 to spend at the Burnley FC Club shop on completion of your deal. So why not pop down to their stunning showroom in Whalley or give them a call or even just send them an email or a message on social media to start your new car adventure today. And please remember to mention Turfcast when you do. Before we get all depressed and talk about Burnley and Everton and stuff, we have a comment from Jorge Rodriguez. I hope I pronounced that right, mate. He says, New York Giants, Sam, but you're a Jets fan and you're wearing a Giants kit. You must have every NFL team in your wardrobe. Patriots, Jets, Giants, Broncos, Falcons. It looks to me like you just named a lot of birds there, Jorge, but I presume they're teams.
Yeah, it's saying I'm a Jets fan and then wearing a Giants top might be somewhat controversial, but I do probably have nearly every single team in my bottom drawer anyway. So I'm not exactly from New York. It's not like I live and breathe New York, is it? So
no way. You do sound like you're from New York, mate.
So you're one of them guys that we sometimes see wearing an Arsenal shirt, then week after he's wearing a Tottenham shirt. You're basically that guy.
No. Football, I'm a one club man, but if I'm branching into a different sport, I like to see who's about there. But Burnley making me that miserable now, I might as well follow a different sport.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've chosen the wrong sport to be a one-club man, I think, at the minute. But anyway, enough of the niceties. Just to make that rounded off, Rodriguez says, fair point, but as a Patriots fan, Patriots and Jets don't get along. We'll move on from the NFL stuff because
if we made this an NFL podcast, look at the engagement. Honestly, it'd be anyway.
Yeah, Sam and Georgie or whatever will be chatting for ages. But yes, enough of the smiles, enough of the happiness, because this is a depressed space today.
You're gonna say disgrace, then, weren't you?
I just messed my words up, mate. I genuinely just messed my words up.
Disgrace.
No.
Yeah, we're not here to enjoy ourselves.
We are not here to enjoy ourselves, to be fair, but I've made some notes, or tried to make some notes, and I literally just put at the top Everton game thoughts and left it at that. So we'll go in order of the screen, seeing as Neil's hijacked the top left-hand corner. Thoughts on the game, please, Neil?
Right, genuinely haven't done anything there. Same old, mate. Last year it was rinse and repeat, all we've won this week, and this year it's just rinse and repeat, all we've lost. It's getting a little bit annoying now, to be honest. We don't seem to be learning from any mistakes. I thought Vinny got the subs wrong again. I thought we made Everton look very, very good. And we made them look almost City-like. And then, again, they didn't have to work very hard to beat us, which is the frustrating thing. It was far too easy for them, and it'll be an easy 3 points for them. It's that thing where I don't mind the defeat as long as there's some fight there, but it's just, we're making it far too easy, and it's been the theme of the season.
Yep, fair enough. Mike says, easiest away win Everton will have all year. Again, it appeared we gave up, and again, no urgency. We are obsessed with passing it slow around the back with zero urgency when behind. That's exactly what Vizzy did say on his fan reaction. He said it's the easiest 3 points that Dyche will ever get in his career, and he's not wrong. Everton did nothing except step onto us. Sam, hopefully your internet's better today. But your thoughts on the match, please, mate.
I don't think it's a case of we gave up. I just don't think we've got it at all this year. I don't think we've got the idea and the philosophy that we're trying to implement with the players that we've got. I just don't think we've bought the personnel to do it. I think we're not good enough for this league. I think if teams like Everton, who, I mean, yeah, fair enough, the position that they're in, that's one of the other things we should talk about as well. They'd be around mid-table now if it wasn't for the points deduction that they've had. They've had a good, strong start to the season, to be fair, but in saying that, they are down there with us, and they were down there for the last 2 seasons, and we went into a performance against them at home and just literally allowed them to come at us in waves, just over and over and over again, with little to no retaliation whatsoever. It was almost just a case of let's lose the ball cheaply and just, and just give them another chance and another chance and another chance. And then eventually, 2-0 down, and it's the story of our season. We don't have the fight back. We just don't have it. You go 1-0 down. We didn't have the fight back. So poor day.
We never do it? That's why I said in the pre-game show, the first goal is massive. And what, we're 15, 20 minutes or 1-0 down. And I knew from that moment then we were going to get beat because we don't come back. And if we go in front, we let teams back into games. Obviously, apart from Sheffield United, even Luton got back into it, and we were somewhat not fortuitous, but we scored again against a run of play. There is an Everton fan in the chat. Obviously, we'll get on to Everton fans in the home end soon.
They're always in the home end, aren't they?
I was going to say, all I'll say to the Everton fan is same thing. Just be respectful, and you can stay. If not, I'll get one at stewards to have a go at you for 10 minutes and do nothing. But Liam, move on to you, mate. Your thoughts on the Everton defeat, please.
It's just sad now at this stage. Again, I can understand losing. I can swallow it. It's fine. But it's losing in the way that we are. And if it's either not us just failing to break a team down and still losing embarrassingly like Palace or West Ham at home, which both those games were absolutely diabolical, despite both those teams being injury hit like mad. They're for the taking. And we just literally barely even created anything of any real substance. Our only goal was from a penalty. So it's like, and then there's just Everton. Then there's that sample. I can't even bear to even watch it at this stage. Like,
I've not watched
I'm watching Luton, man. I'm watching Luton. They are not fucking better than us. They're not. Their players are nowhere near better than some of the talent that we have. But they're fighting. They're sticking in games. They're soaking up pressure as much as they can and beg to hit them on a set piece. Who does that remind you of? Oh, Burnley. Like what we used to be back in the day. Now, of course, we have adapted, as we probably should have as well. And right now we're in this kind of little transitional phase where we're trying to find our own, in this new modern style of football. But you just can't do that without some experience, which we just have none. And the only signing that we have made that has some experience is Berger, who coincidentally is by far lucky to be our best player. Top 3 anyway. Definitely our best signing. So, yeah, it's just... I don't think we really showed up at all until the last 10 minutes. And then you can go into the subs, because that's the one thing that I question Kompany is subs are just so strange. Why did it take so long to bring on Trezor and Redmond? Benson, I can understand because of his injury, but why is Trezor on in the 86th minute? I don't get it. So, yeah, it's just sad right now, man.
Yeah, don't disagree with anything. I'll get into the subs in a second, but obviously there's been a few people saying like last second half we were better, last 10 minutes, whatever, we were better. I'll stick with you, Liam, because it was you who made that point. But are we not better in them last 10 minutes in these games because teams are just standing off us because it's up to us to go and break them down, and then we're then doing nothing with that. So I just don't see the point in pretty much any aspect of that second half. Like Everton just stopped stepping onto us and said, "You break us down," and we couldn't do anything to do it.
West Ham Palace, same thing. People are saying that, we outplayed them. It's like, no, they'll let us do it because they know that we're not going to break them down. Palace, West Ham have great defenses, especially Palace. So all they have to do is just wait for us to make a mistake, as we always do, as we did, and then we'll just self-capitulate. Here, we let Michael Keane score a fucking tap-in. We let Michael Keane score an open play in like the 20th minute. Like, they were just having fun with us, man. Like, how have you allowed that? It's just crazy. It really is.
Everton fan so far being respectful. He says, we just defend because we know you're not going to score. That's exactly what we're saying. Everybody knows that. That's why the first goal was massive, because we were never, ever, ever going to come back from it. Neil, do you think that's a fair assessment? Obviously saying we're better in the second half, but then kind of pointless because Everton, as the Everton fan in the chat says, just stopped stepping onto us, and then we've just done nothing about it.
Yeah, game's over by then. And like Liam said there, and like I've said there, Vinny waited till 80th minute or something to make a change. We were 2-0 down after 25 minutes. He should have changed it a lot earlier than that. But yeah, by the time we started playing well, the game was already over. Everton had already got the game wrapped up and just knew how to... See, that was the difference for me, is that Everton and Dyche, they know how to see games out and they know what it takes to win at this level, and we don't, and that's always been the problem. Even when we have been leading in games, we don't know how to see it out, and it's just that naivety again. But yeah, we're not going to score, so teams know exactly what to do against us. But as for Saturday, it was over by that point anyway.
Yeah, it was over in the 25th minute when the second goal went in. You could probably argue the 19th minute. Let's get on to the subs then. Sam, I'll come to you because I've let you stew for a bit. But a lot of people were dissing the subs. I mean, he brought Foster on, so he was quite proactive with that sub. He brought Foster on quite early, but I don't see how he couldn't. Jay was dropping another stinker, just completely anonymous. Some people may say that he weren't really getting the service, which is fair enough, but you know, a lot of stuff he weren't doing. He weren't winning headers, he weren't even jumping for headers. So for me, it was pretty poor. But then after that, in the 70th minute, he waits till the 70th minute to bring on Al Dakil for Delcroix and just basically change the fullbacks around, which just seems pointless. And then after that, the 82nd minute, Benson comes on for Bruno Larson, who I don't think found a Burnley shirt all game. He was dreadful. Cousin Nathan came on for Vitinho. and obviously Trezor for Audebert in the 87th minute. Like, what is Nathan and Trezor going to do in the 87th minute? All them subs, for me, the last three should have been made around the 60th minute mark.
We our Kompany is in a position now where, because and it is a lot down to him, but because we're doing so badly, every single decision is going to get scrutinized, like every single one. And one of the worst decisions that he's getting wrong over and over and over again is the time of his substitutions. You're in a game where you're losing 2-0, you have 45 minutes to pick or change the way that you're trying to play. So you bring Foster on, but then a couple of minutes after that is when you should be looking at it like, okay, we're still not in the game. Trezor, somebody in an attacking sense needs to sort something out. That substitution of Al-Dakhil, I remember looking at it and just thinking, why? I just don't. I don't understand. Like, you've backed Delquire to start him, so what's the point in bringing Al-Dakhil on now when you need a goal? It just meant nothing. The attacking subs came too late. Benson, again, we've all agreed that's the only one where you can fully understand why he's come back into the side later on in the game. How on earth is an injured player coming in for a little run around to get him a little bit of match sharpness come into the game before two of your other attacking wingers and one of them that you spent £18 million on? I just get baffled by like the fact that we're in this position and we need something to change. And like, we did the exact same with Dyche towards the end, but Dyche didn't have a bench like this. Dyche did not have a bench of attacking players like this, where you can actually change something for the better, or you can change a style of winger for somebody else. Dyche was feeding on scraps with young players and centre-halves and goalkeepers. That's not a bench to sort from. Whereas this bench now, Kompany's got all the tools that aren't up to the speed of the Premier League and aren't Premier League quality. We lack experience, and it shows so much in games now. And it's just getting a little bit ridiculous. Like, we go into games week in, week out, and we just think tactically we look like we have no idea what's going on. The subs look like they can't catch up to the pace of the game. And like I've said before, people think that we enjoy moaning about it and we take great pleasure in Burnley losing. You cannot be happy with 2 wins and 2 draws from 17 games and losing the rest. You just can't be happy with that. And if you are happy with that, then I don't even know what you're watching football for, because right now it is just miserable.
It is, and I can't really disagree with that. And that brings me on nicely to the next debate, which seems to be dominating the social media. I just want to find a comment that I saw a second ago, which I believe is from an Everton fan. Well, he's not a Burnley fan anyway, because here it is. James Barrows. He says, Burnley fans, how was the season you went down with Dyche and then came right back up with him? Was it like this, better or worse? I can't remember exactly what points we were on at this stage. Probably more than this. But this feels a lot worse. I saw a stat on Twitter. Can't remember who shared it. It may have been the lads from the Be All In podcast, or somebody shared it to them and they retweeted it. But if we get beat against Fulham, Vincent will have a worse record than Brian Laws in Brian Laws's 18 games in the Prem. And I think that said everything. And I think that says everything at how bad this season has been. This is worse. But for me...
But then the thing is, as well, you can go back to that team, and that team wasn't equipped for the Premier League. That team at that time wasn't equipped for the Premier League. We bought Stephen Fletcher as his main striker that entire transfer window, and we didn't really buy anybody that was really Premier League quality. We've spent £100 million in this transfer window, and we look horrific. We look like we have no idea what's going on. So if that is the case and those statistics are true, I'm not saying that Kompany needs questioning about his position as a manager, but he's definitely under scrutiny for what on earth are you watching and what are you actually trying to do to change this? Because right now it's the same thing over and over and over again. We're out of a game by the 20th minute. What the hell was that? So we just flew across my desk. We're out of games in the 20th minute. We just look all out at sea. We're the easiest team in the league to beat other than Sheffield United. It's just horrendous. And we've gone week in, week out. Every time we've watched a game, going back to different things. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. At what point do you actually... Is there something new that we're doing wrong? Because right now it's just the same things. Defensively, we're looking at, we can't break teams down. We don't have the quality. We have the personnel to bring into the game, but we do it too late. It's the same things over and over again. And that's where Kompany needs questioning. Not from his position as a manager, but he needs questioning about where are we getting better and when are we going to see it?
Yeah, I agree with that on the evidence of the last match, but we had slowly been getting better. Up until that Everton game. However, there are still the same mistakes being made within that, the substitutions, the defensive errors. So it's bizarre. Obviously, you're only as good as your last game in football because it's a fickle thing. But we were as bad as we have been all season against Everton. And I do feel Everton, deserve to win. But they had our number. Dyche knows how to play against teams like us. And it's not difficult, to be fair. Just step onto us and put us under pressure because we'll mess around with it and shoot ourselves in the foot. And before we get on to the Kompany debate, I just want to have the comment on screen read out. Quilted Ibarra, one of the OGs, used to do watch-alongs back in the day with Neil. He says it was better because we didn't have as much hope back then. I think he hits the nail on the head there. His expectations have grown. Money has been invested, so it feels a lot worse now. And Sam, I'll just go back to you as well, because you just said then we don't have the quality. Don't disagree with you. We quite obviously don't have the quality. The evidence is there. But we spent over 100 million quid. And I know certain Burnley fans have been sharing quotes of people saying we spent 100 million quid, saying stop going on about it. But we have to go on about it. We spent 100 million quid and we don't have the quality to stay in the Premier League. It's bizarre.
But mate, these are so they're the things that really annoy me though. Like, I don't mind anybody having a different opinion, but those people that are saying 100 million pound is nothing, go back to your tweet at the start of this season where you say, I can't believe Burnley spent 100 million quid. Because it's the same people. Every single person was buzzing with finally spent money. And then now you turn around and you go, well, 100 million pound is nothing, is it really? And 280 million quid over 3 years with Bournemouth. I mean, if at this rate, if we were able to stay in the Premier League, we'd spend 280 million quid over 3 seasons if the spending stays the same. Like, we've spent 100 million pound on like 15 new players. All the other teams that have come up have the same core as they came up with. And a lot of teams have done the same in the past. Luton look like they've got more fight in them because it's the same players that help them get promoted. We've bought players from absolutely nowhere. Brun Larsson's got a 1.5 million pound, 1.5 million pound release clause. We've bought Delquar for £1 million. Like we've spent 13 on Sander Berge, and like Liam says, he's the established player. We spent 18 on Trezor. He doesn't even start. He doesn't get anywhere near the team. He comes on for the last 5 minutes. So then we've bought James Trafford for £19 million. He was the marquee signing, if we're talking value-wise. He's played the most games. He's had the most scrutiny from all of us and a lot of Burnley fans for the first couple of weeks. So we've spent lots of money, but every single one of the decisions, whether they play or not, how much they are, they all have holes and we all have question marks around them. And we're in a position now where I don't think that £100 million has made our squad overall better than it was last season. And that's what we all have said. That's not new news. We all agree that the Championship team of last season would be doing a better job than this team now. So if that's the case, are you happy with spending 100 million quid and being in the position that we are? I'm not. I'd much rather have just signed a couple of the loan players that we had from last season and bring in a couple of other players and seen a bit of a hole. But hindsight's a brilliant thing because I'm also one of the people that said 100 million quid on what we bought was brilliant. So
the thing is, I think we severely underestimated how tough this league is because so many players that we started the season with are not even playing now. Like we all thought, start of the year, possibly like number 1 and number 2 name on the team sheet is Josh Cullen. And like he's completely out of team because he's just not good enough. We didn't think of that. We didn't think that was even a possibility. But he's not even going to be a starter because it's now Berger and Brownhill. That seems to work more. So it's like, I think we vastly underestimated how tough this league actually is, because some players that we plan to start the year off with are just not even near the team anymore. Like the fact that we didn't even play Charlie Taylor as a left back in the championship because we thought that he wasn't good enough for the way that we want to play. Now he's forced to play there now because we have no other option. It's just fucking shit planning. It's awful. We're playing Vitinho as a right back. That wasn't our main right back last year. We also have to Roberts. I don't know if he's injured or not. I think he's kind of half and half. So but again, we didn't plan that at all. So why is Vitinho now good now in Premier League, but not good enough in Championship? It's like these little questions of I don't really know, what the actual plan was, because I think it feels like, from what I'm looking at it, is that they've severely underestimated the gap of the Championship to Premier League.
Yeah.
And that them, just like all of us, got really happy, got really into ourselves, and thought that we could do something like what Fulham did last year. Because keep in mind, all three teams that went up last season all stayed up in Forest, Bournemouth, and Fulham. So we thought it must not be that hard, right? Jesus Christ, I did not expect this. I really didn't. And that's the one thing that I kind of figure out, is that I don't get how our kind of team that we started off with is so different. I saw someone comment earlier saying that, our Kompany, it should change. It should go to a drop 4-4-2, but drop deep and two banks of four. It's like, what, you think these players that don't defend well now will suddenly just defend amazing if you just say go on two banks of four? They're shit defensively because they are not either physical enough or got the experience to do so. So when the going gets tough in big moment situations, they will fall apart because they're not ready for it yet. So suddenly, us going to a 4-4-2 Dyche system, trying to hit them with who? Who's our target man up top? J-Rod, who's 34. He's not at the level anymore. So we can't just kind of aim to soak up pressure and hit teams on break. We got some pace, but we haven't got the defensive unit to do so. So no matter who, this is my thing at keeping company. I don't think no matter who we have, if we try to soak up pressure and go counter or play this nice fancy football, whatever we do, we're still going to be shit. We're still not going to be ready. So that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe it's what's the word for it? A defeatist way of looking at it. But I just think that it's just a bunch of young players that have some ability. Some has more than others, and they just haven't got the right combination of experience to really gel them together. And that's what we're severely missing.
Yeah, no, I can't really disagree with that. We're missing big, strong defenders who can get involved, head the ball out, be strong, not get overrun, because the team have modelled themselves on just being ball-playing centre-backs, but you need people that can do both. Or mix a ball-playing centre-back with a strong aerial centre-back. I don't know, like Bayer and Ekdal. Try that, I think. Something like that. But we'll get on to that later on. Neil, we'll come to you. You're on mute, just so you know. Obviously, we said at the start of the show, we'll get into the VK in or out. The entire Turfcast team has been saying VK in, despite all the noise on social media. But there's been a change this week. Somebody has gone from 60-40 to now swinging more towards Kompany out. That person is Neil Layfield. Explain yourself.
Yes, I thought after you've all done it, everything you've literally just said.
Yeah, explain yourself, mate.
Right. So what I actually said was, I'm leaning that way. I'm going to reassess it in January, right? So the only thing that's stopping at the minute is the injuries that we've had, right? So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for that. My reasons are literally everything we've just said. We're not equipped for the Premier League. It's his job to get us equipped for the Premier League. We knew we were going up at Christmas, and it's a year later, and we're not equipped for it. It's shocking, really. I've seen people say it's a project and all that sort of stuff. And yes, we'll go down and come back with him. But it really depends what you want, right? So at the minute, that's only going to be good if they're learning from the mistakes. And so far, I've not seen anybody learn from any mistakes that have been made. Players, Finney, anybody.
Can't disagree with that.
So what's going to happen there is we'll go down and the same thing will happen. We'll walk the championship, we'll come back up and still not be equipped for it because Vinny's not learned anything from it. So I need to start seeing that he's learning from these mistakes, getting his subs right. His in-game management has been appalling, to be honest with you. He doesn't know how to get us back into a game. The players don't know how to do it. If he can sort that out, then yeah, stay. But otherwise, we're just going to be in this loop of up and then back down with him and then back up with him and then back down again. because he's not learning from it. And I know people are saying, "Oh, but this is the manager who brought us up, and he was linked with Spurs and stuff." Well, A, he didn't get to the Spurs job, and B, if Angie was sacked tomorrow, would he be considered for Spurs now? No, he wouldn't. So there's loads of reasons why I'm swinging that way now. I'm not completely out. I do think there's some mitigating things there. He's got a transfer window to put it right. But on January the 1st, if I see a club statement that we've bought a winger, I'm 100% out. There's
I'm waiting for that day. Actually, that'd be amazing to see.
Yeah,
Please.
there's just no evidence that anybody is learning from any of the mistakes this season. And as the season's gone on, you would expect that yes, we might still get beat, but you can see that. He's learned from that. He's not done that again. Or he's learned that that's not working, so he's changed it, and he's not doing. So I just think we're just going to be in this this loop of go down, Vinny will bring us back up. Nothing's changed.
But to play devil's advocate,
if it's a project, it should be that it's got us up and we build and we go up.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with too much of what you've said. But to play devil's advocate, he's 37, so surely he's going to make mistakes. But you're saying that you want to see him learn from them mistakes. Is that?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he should be like taking us from where we are to challenge him for Europe over the course of the season, but just if we can just see that the style of play is working, or that he knows it's not working and he's doing something to change it instead of just persisting with what's not working. Just things like that to show that he's learning from it. He's an intelligent guy, right? We all know that. We've watched the documentary. We know that he's an intelligent guy, and he's got a good footballing brain. He's played at the top level, but at the minute, I'm not seeing that he's adapting or he's learning from this. So we'll see what happens in January, and we'll see when he's got his full fitness back, his full squad of fitness back. But I am starting to swear that way a little bit.
Yep, fair enough. I can't really disagree with the fact that he's making the same mistakes over and over again. He did the same earlier in the season, just refusing to play Charlie Taylor at left back. And I've said it a million times. I understand why what he was trying to do, but everybody could see that it wasn't working. So there was that. He's making the same mistakes with his subs. But for me, because of not just because of what he's done, but because of the way and how difficult it's been, and the recruitment that we've done, I think we've highlighted the recruitment too many times. I don't want to go into it too much, but we've bought potential rather than quality. So I think that is part of the reason why we are so dreadful. So I've said before, I'd give him till at least 10 games into next season. However, as I've also said before on a show, there's got to be a breaking point, right? If we lose every single game between now and February, I'm sure I'll be fed up. So there's got to be improvements. There's got to be signs that we're getting better. But just again, to play devil's advocate to myself, there were signs there before this Everton match that we were getting better. Yeah, we've just gone backwards in that Everton match.
Yeah, that's important to remember that before this game that we all were thinking, okay, well, at least like we're looking at we're in games now. Like Palace and West Ham, even though I think they let us have it, at least that was a game that we actually was in. And Brighton away, I don't think that was even that much of a bad game. Of course, second half they put it on us, but we tried to keep it 3 points. So you can understand that. I mean, Arsenal away, I didn't even think we were bad either. And like Arsenal, I thought actually did a pretty good
set
form.
Pieces again, weren't it?
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, if you are as bad at set pieces as we are, which by the way, we are diabolical. Like last year, by the way, we weren't great either, but we are worse now by a good stretch. So when you're a Premier League team, it's like, that's just a bread and butter of a tactician, of a manager. It's like, okay, what's our weakness? Set pieces. Okay. Lump it to the big ones. Lump it. And like, this is the thing, right? I remember I watched back in the first goal, the actual corner. And like, I beg anyone watching this or you guys here, look back on that first goal.
I can't.
I look at the near post and I see who's our tallest player by a mile, by the way. Sander Berg. Okay, who's he marking? He's marking no one. He's at the front post. And no one's at the front post around him, okay? Who's also next to him? It's our two centre-backs in Bayer and Delcroix, who's apparently, centre-backs is, I guess, Delcroix's original centre-back. They're marking no one. So we've got three players at the front post marking no one. And marking possibly the tallest player. I mean, they got five of them, to be fair. But Onana has got Brownhill. And I think Tarkovsky has got Vitinho. So it's like, that's not planned. Like that, it makes me think. No way is Kompany saying to the lads before the game, saying, okay, set pieces. I want you, Berg, to mark fuck all. I want you, Bayer, and Decor to also mark no one as well around him, to also mark the near post when no one's around, by the way. And Vitinho, you have the biggest, most threatening threat in fucking James Tarkowski. Let's see how that goes. Which, by the way, I think that same thing happened for the cup game, which I think Josh Cullen marked out Tarky as well. Exactly so it's like, are they there's no way they're telling each other to mark these players. It's almost like when you play Sunday League football, it's like, have him. All right, there you go, I got him. It almost feels like that at this stage. It's so bad. And then again, Trafford, great shot stopper, but he's such a weakness in that area. And it's so easy for any team just to target him. So easy. And that's just going to always be our main issue. If it's not us just passing them the ball, like Bournemouth, for example, or like Wolves, for example, or like 18 other games, for example, it's considered shit set pieces. So, yeah, that's just... And again, for a Premier League team at this level, you can't have two glaring weaknesses like that, because you will...
We've been calling out for Trafford to come out and collect crosses like that, and we can see why he doesn't now after that. It's just too weak. He's too weak.
Yeah, he just gets caught under the ball. I think he misjudges the flight of the ball. Then he's got to jump, and then people are criticising him for saying, "Oh, you're out. You've been out jumped by Onana who scored the goal." He's just misjudged it. Yeah, he's just misjudged it, and then not strong enough. And then, as you said earlier, as Liam said earlier, you've got the wrong people marking the wrong people. Just going back to the VK in or out thing, though, Sam. Obviously, Neil had his say. Then, where are you standing on it at the minute?
Listen, I'm still absolutely VK in. Absolutely. We gave Dyche the time.
But
there are clear holes in what he's doing. There are. And everybody's open to criticism. Like, me and my mum fall out all the time. Don't mean that I wanted to leave the house. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is a thing. Like, I still love what VK's done in the
I want to see a video of that, by the way.
Wow. What's that?
I want to see a video of you and your mum falling out over making a bruise like last time.
Get out.
I want to see that.
Get out. No, honestly. But then you get into a position though where there is clear areas for criticism. His subs are terrible.
There is.
They are terrible. His tactics this season in comparison to last season are awful. They are awful. If he is the manager and everything that he's planning with all of his background staff is and puts it into display for 17 games, well, 2 of them have actually worked so far. And even that Luton game, I still think we either should have drawn or lost the game because they were miles better than us in the second half. The Forest game, okay, fair enough. That's a draw that we probably should have won. We did get a horrendous VAR decision. Fair enough. That maybe counteracts itself. But you can only genuinely talk because every defeat that we've had is so convincing. We don't lose a game and go, every single loss that we've had so far, you don't turn around and say, well, we were in it at some point. Like the West Ham game for 74 minutes of the game, we were unbelievable and then somehow lost. In 6 in-game minutes of football, we conceded 2 goals. It's horrendous. You go to Palace and like you say, Liam, like, I completely agree. Like we played better, but they didn't even have to get out of second gear. They could sit there with their injuries in 2 banks of 4 and just say, come at us because we know you're not going to create anything that's actually going to trouble our goalkeeper and we can just spring something on you. Oh, look, we've gone 1-0 up. Oh, there we go. 1-0 up. That's it. Because it is game over. Every time we concede a goal, it's game over. We have a manager that isn't looking into the tactics and thinking, what can he change? We thought we'd got there after that 5-0 at Sheffield United. But we said after the game, didn't we? Like that 5-0 against Sheffield United is very, very, very easy when it's a result that good, where you can get your heads lost in the clouds again. After these results afterwards, that was 2 championship teams playing against each other, and we are the better championship team. There's no sugarcoat in that now. Like they're the worst team in the league, and we're just a little bit better than them. That's why we battered them, and they had a red card. Like we literally we have to be real now with what we're watching. We watched consistently. Every now and then, a couple of better performances, like you say, the Palace and the West Ham game, and then we drew against Brighton. Brilliant. That's fine. We are now 17 games into a Premier League season with 8 points, 2 wins, nearly the worst goal difference I've ever seen a Burnley team have. And we've lost 13 games. And that is down to the manager and the players and the recruitment and all of it together. But Vincent Kompany's picking that 11 and Vincent Kompany's telling them how to play. And we are playing shocking right now.
So, mate, what part of all that is you for VK in then?
Because look at the season we had last season. We nearly broke the points record last season. We've clearly had a situation where all the lines haven't aligned. We're clearly in a position where people have had different ideas, or everything that we've planned hasn't come together. We've bought youth. Like I've said before, £13 million on Odebear looks good now. For the first 13 games, you'd have said, why on earth is Odebear? Why have we spent 13 million quid on someone who sat on the bench? Then you could flip it to Trezor now. He got 5 minutes at the end of the game. Like we cost £18 million we spent on him, who was one of Europe's most clinical goal scorers and assisters last season. We're making him look like he can't do anything because we give him 5 minutes. What do you expect? He's getting the Vidra treatment right now. He's getting 4 minutes at the end of a game. Like just look
feature treatment. Jesus,
it's just horrendous. But we just look so bad. And it honestly, but the side where I'm on Kompany's side is because the tactics have worked in a division below. I just think the recruitment hasn't come in and shown that it fits this system, and this system that we're trying to play, we don't have the personnel for, and we spent £100 million on project players when Kompany probably would have wanted, we know he likes a young team, but even he surely, and I'm saying this like I'm hoping that he doesn't think like this, but surely he didn't want all of those new players. Surely he didn't want all of them. And all the wingers that we signed, surely they were like people popping up from your scout on Football Manager, and he just kept making an offer for every single one of them. Like, that's what it feels like. And surely Kompany can't sit there and look at the 8 and 9 wingers that we bought and said, this is the squad we're going into the season with. We've got no other centre-backs, we've got no other full-backs, and our 2 midfielders that we're playing now that are actually playing well have Jack Cork, right, and Josh Cullen as the backups for them. And Cullen, at the start of the season, we all said was going to absolutely murder this league. And he's been horrendous. So like Liam says, the gap is clearly that big because we said Cullen was going to be a world beater in this league. And he's looked shocking. I don't want Kompany to go, but it is so dire right now. You have to point fingers at some of the things that he's doing.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. However, I do just want to quickly ask both of you, and Liam if he comes back, what is the issue? I'll start with you, Sam, because you're still in floor. What is the issue then? Is it personnel, tactics, or a mixture of both?
In my opinion, it's a mixture of everything. I think we have to. I think we have to look at, what we went up with, and where we are now. And I think the main thing for me is, like I've said, and we've said it for numerous weeks, but the team isn't the same as what we came up with. So that fundamental core of what played so well last season isn't there. Then you've also got the money that we've spent. So like I say about the Odebear thing, like Odebear's £13 million. Right now, the way he's playing, it looks great. But Koleosho was £3 million and he was in the team every single week. So it seemed pointless having Aaron Ramsey and him on the bench, never coming on, and that's a combined £26 million on 2 players that don't even play. Like, then the other side of it is you're spending money on these players, and not every single one of them's playing. Like, before Koleosho got injured, Odebear came on for about 7-8 minutes a game. Koleosho was starting every single game. Trezor's never getting on. Like, we've spent so much money, and half of the players aren't even touching the pitch. So if we're buying potential, we're not giving them any game time to reach that potential. So then we're turning around and saying, "Oh, okay, well, if we get relegated, that's fine because they'll gain potential. They'll reach the potential in the Championship." I didn't want to have this season as a let's go up and see how we do and then go down. Nobody expected that after how well last season went. So to then come to that realization, then have people say, "Let's be realistic." These are all exactly the same people that will have said at the start of the season, "I just want to see us have a good go." I understand people can have different opinions, but like you can't. You've got to look at where we were last season with 103 points and nearly breaking the points record, and coming into this season, especially like in the cup against Bournemouth, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's a great game." Like that shows how we are against Premier League teams. We've come into the Premier League and we look nothing like that team that won 4-2 in the Cup. Like, we look nothing like it. We don't look like we have any fight. We look too easy to turn over. The personnel that we've got in the team now, there's so much money left in areas that we didn't necessarily need. And the positions that are letting us down, we haven't recruited for. We bought Dara O'Shea, who's a centre-half, who I genuinely at the start of the season thought was a good signing. And now he's been one of the worst players in our team because he can't play out from the back and he can't carry the ball. So we're in a position now, in my opinion, where I think it's over. I've said it for a while. I think it's over. Like, if we didn't pick up a certain amount of points from this run of games, it's pointless because now we need 32 points to get to that 40 points that everyone talks about. We need 32 points. And after the display of the first half of the season, there's no way we pick 32 points up in the second half. Absolutely no way.
I did an article for the BBC today. I do like one every 2-3 weeks. Thank you. I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it when it goes live. Are
you the same guy from the overlap? I thought
I'm him. Yes, I'm him. But anyway,
I thought you looked similar. Sorry,
just to go back to that point you made, Sam, I've put in one of the paragraphs to put things into perspective. Burnley will need to be looking at getting another 25 points minimum to even be in with a shout of survival, or probably more to actually stay up. So that goes on to what you said. And then I did the maths. That's 1.19 points per game when so far Burnley have only managed 0.47. So we need to get more than doubly better. That's not even a saying. But we need
better. Oh, we've lost our minds here, boys.
I'm having that. I like that.
Neil's a teacher, and he's having it. Well, he is for a bit. Won't be soon.
I am till Wednesday. I'm
having it then. But I just cannot see us improving that much. And I agree with you, Sam. We'll go on to you next, Liam. Do you think we stay up? I think that's the answer. You know why I'm asking the question?
40 minutes and be like, so you think we're staying up then?
The reason why I'm asking the question is there's still some people on the hashtag and there's still some pages saying, I think we'll get out of it. What are you basing that on? It's just, and then people like me, Sam, Neil, and yourself come on here and say, we're going to go down. And then people are like, bloody hell, how negative do you lads want to be? Come on, be realistic. And I just don't see how people can still think we'll get out of it, genuinely.
I mean, if you have belief that we're staying up, that's because you're hopeful. As a fan, you should be. But
blandly optimistic.
There's really nothing that we're really seeing right now that makes you think that we should stay up, especially when you compare us to the other quality in the league. And, it's the gap is so far ahead. Like, Forest are right now in a bit of poor form, but they'll probably sack Cooper, get a new manager bounce, and they'll be fine. So, like, Bournemouth, they're flying. Everton, they're flying. So who else is there? Like, other than Luton and Sheffield United, is like, who else actually is there?
Forest are the only team, in my opinion, that we can catch. I still think Brentford could be dragged into it if the bottom three were decent.
No,
if the bottom three were decent, but they're not. Brentford have lost 4 of the last 5. They're in shite form, but they're not going to get dragged into it because everybody else is so shit. That's the problem. You've got teams that are in bang out of form, like your Forest, like your Brentford, who in a normal Premier League season would get dragged into it. That's what I'm saying, but they're not going to get dragged into it because the bottom 3 are so dreadful.
Someone said earlier about like where were we at to this stage in the 14-15 year. Well, in both of our relegation seasons, we were on 15 points at this stage. We're on 8 now.
That's ridiculous.
So, like the thing is, right, is that when it comes to Kompany and that, I mean, my thought process is I don't think these players are good enough with or without Kompany. People saying bring in a Potter for example. It's like, okay, what do you think Potter is going to try to do with these players? He's going to try and pass out from the back, which they can't do, by the way. So what difference do you think that's really going to make suddenly? Players that aren't physical enough will suddenly become really physical? Not really. They put a bit more effort in, but in terms of jumping up in the air for set pieces, they'll still be off the mark. So my kind of thought process is I think that these players that, by the way, in my opinion, the majority are brought in because of Kompany. Every single interview is there because they're saying Kompany's been talking to me for the last 6 months, and I want to be here because of Kompany. I'm sold by Kompany's project and that. Yes, some are also here because we are in the Premier League, but the vast majority is because of that relation to Kompany. So if Kompany goes, do you think these players that are here because of him will suddenly now be good? I can't see that happening either. So look, again, it's maybe defeatist, but I think that kind of going back to square one can cause us more damage because no matter if you like it or not, if you can't see it right now or not, we do have an identity. We do have a plan. Right now, it's not working, but the identity is there. It's just right now not with the right players, but it can be one day, whatever else, next year, 2 years' time, whatever. I still know that is still there. If we sack a manager, I just don't want that identity to be a complete collection of 5 or 6, or whatever managers, like a Watford or like Norwich, for example.
Yeah, because then you end up like Watford and Norwich, bottom half of the Championship.
Yeah, Norwich are literally a sample of like what they were to what we are now. We're a soft touch. When we were Burnley with Sean Dyche and we played Norwich, it was all about when you play Norwich, just get stuck into them. Make sure that they know that you're there and that they will be a soft touch more times than none. I think one time we lost, but it's like they're a soft touch compared to most teams in the league, and that's what we are. So, look, I just want to enjoy the games again, and the question is now that I think the main question is really what are we going to do, Kompany? So, what are we going to do in January? Are you going to give Kompany more money? Are we going to double down, or are we going to say, okay, we fucked it this year? We've already spent 100 mil or 90 mil or whatever with the loans, whatever else, right? Are we just going to cut our losses and prepare for next season? Because those are two big questions that need to be answered in the next 2 weeks.
It's one of them with me. Like people sometimes say, I was talking to a Sheffield United fan not long ago, and he was saying, "Oh, Burnley should just write off January because you're already down." It's like you've still got to improve the squad every window. But you've still got to get better and better, whether you're already down or not, because you're going to want to have a better second half of the season and give yourself a chance. Ultimately, you might go down, but then the squad will be better at the start of next season for it, hopefully, if you don't lose a lot of players. But you need to keep improving your squad. So I wouldn't give him another 100 million quid because I don't really see the point. But I wouldn't be like, well, there's no point, just write the window off, as some people are saying. But yeah, good question that. Sam, what would you do in January?
Centre mid and a centre half, at least. Like centre mid, centre half, fullback, but that's dreaming.
Striker as well.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Foster gets injured again.
That's the side that I get. But like, we've got Obafemi. Like, stop playing Jay Rodriguez. I know Obafemi might not be the answer, but it's still better than watching him run around doing nothing every game. Like, surely this is what I'm saying. That's the side with Kompany that we've talked about. Like, it's the stubbornness to keep trying the same things that don't work. And we used the analogy a few weeks ago. It's like you eventually, when you realise that you're a borderline concussion, you stop banging your head against the wall. Like, Kompany decides, do you know what? This one might be the one that gets me through wall. And then he bangs it again. It's like, oh, I've got a headache again now. It's like, he just don't think.
Where do you come up with these analogies, mate? I love them.
Yeah, it's a big brain. No, I'm joking. No, I'm telling you, it's like we've
chat GPT.
We've got Obafemi, right? We signed him as we wanted him in the summer of last season. He was going to be our main striker. We ended up getting him for a cut price in January. We spent more money on Lau Foster. Lau Foster, yes, is the main striker. How does that put Obafemi third behind Jay Rodriguez, who got dropped last season for Ashley Barnes, who we've sold? Like, this is my point. I just don't get where we're getting it from. Like, we need to bring in a centre half because the centre halves can't win an header and can't play out from the back. We've established that, and that's how we're trying to play. We need a big, strong, dominant centre midfielder. Sander Berge is getting better, but I still think we just need a strong centre mid who can go next to him. I'd love to see somebody who can play alongside him, because as much as I still think Brownell should get a new contract, and I still think he's a good part of, you know, what we've done. He played in the 10 last season and got into the Championship Player of the Season debate, and now he's dropped back into a centre mid role. That's a different story. Then fullbacks, obviously you have a situation like losing Charlie Taylor at left back, and we are genuinely putting a centre half at left back. It's that bad. Like, we need a left back. Like, Vitinho at right back, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. I think he's been one of the only bright sparks of anything that's gone on with any of the injuries. Connor Roberts is a decent backup, but I do think he's been horrendous this season. I just think we need we just need a bit of a lift as fans, and even a transfer window of bringing in a couple of players, whether they're decent or not, it still means that the club's trying to fight to keep us in the Premier League. And there is obviously that side of us, and we'll all have it. As much as we are sat here saying, you know, we probably will go down, there is still a glimmer of hope in all of us. I've not fully succumbed to the fact that we are 100% down, because
I'll be honest,
players, and we could come back into it.
I'm there of we are definitely going down. However, win against Fulham, and that's how fickle we all are. Win against Fulham, and then, as you said, Liam, when we beat Sheffield United, I think that your main point of that fan reaction was, you've made me believe again. That belief has probably been zapped straight out of you. But if we go to Craven Cottage and win, 1-0 scrappy or 2-1 or whatever, we're all going to hope again. But I'm on the camp of, can't see us getting out of it. But win against Fulham, obviously that changes. Neil, January, your thoughts, mate? What would you do?
Someone put a comment earlier. In January, we need what we needed in the summer. We need a striker, midfielder, a defender, and a left back, which is where the money should have gone, and not on the 90-odd wingers that he's signed. So that's why I'm reserving my full judgment on Kompany until the end of the window. But that's what we need, exactly what we needed in the summer.
Fair enough.
But I've got to say, all I've heard so far, if you were to list all these reasons that we've all come now, as opposed to reasons why we get rid and reasons why we stay, the get rid side's a lot longer.
Yeah,
just saying.
I don't disagree with that, but I think the points on the keep side are probably more weighted than the points on the get rid side.
If we give it a
Kompany, we'll see in January. We'll see how it goes in January.
Like, if we get a new manager, what do you think they'll do differently tactically with this team that will make us better?
It's not that, Liam. It's more.
Do you think they'll put in more fight?
We've already said, fight for one, but we've already said that there's no one's learning from the mistakes, and no one's. It's that sort of thing. Just the glaringly, it's not seeing the glaringly obvious. Just bring someone who can see the glaringly obvious. That's what it is. But we'll see in January.
But
like I say, I'm 60-40.
Who do you realistically replace him with, though? Because this is what we like to pride ourselves on when we're having these conversations. Is we don't just list a load of problems with no solutions. You tell me who the next manager is, and tell any of us are going to back it, because there's no manager out there now that realistically looks at that Burnley project and says, I want that, because they're going down and the expectations are higher than before. And I've got a squad full of I've got an unbalanced squad of players that played for Kompany and might not play for me. And what other managers out there are there with and as much as we have given him a lot of stick with the proactive, different style of football approach that we had last season, because that's all we can really base it off, as well as this season, is the list for Kompany to stay. Yes, in 17 games of this season was horrendous, but 44 games of last season ended up with us being on 103 points, being one of the most dominant championship teams that's ever been assembled, with a squad of absolutely, completely new players. And I just think what's happened is everything that we've planned for this season hasn't come to fruition. We didn't recruit right. We didn't. There's a lot of different variables. Lyle being one of them, and Koleosho's injury is a big part of it, because he was one of his only creative sparks. The recruitment's the biggest one for me, but I think if you're going to go back, so there was a comment before about Frank Lampard and people loving Frank Lampard at the club and stuff like that. Frank Lampard built one of the most expensive championship teams ever assembled and couldn't get out of the playoffs. Vincent Kompany spent a lot of money in the championship with completely brand new players and enforced a new identity, and we ended up getting 103 points and being one of the best teams in the championship. We've gone into a Premier League season and tried to do similar and have realised that hasn't worked, and that isn't all down to Kompany. And people saying that Kompany has the final say on recruitment, that's a weird way of looking at football, because at the end of the day, the people that sign the contracts and the negotiators and the board that part with the money are the people that have the final say on a contract, on a player contract, and how much they get and things like that. Kompany will just give a list of who he wants, and they'll say, this person's ready, do you want him? I can guarantee not all 16 of those Kompany went, yes, sound, bring him in. There's no way Kompany said yes to every single one of them.
Neil, your thoughts?
I'll see you in January, mate. I've said we'll see what he does in January.
See you outside, mate. I'll see you outside, mate.
Yes, I will fight you. I will fight you. We'll see in January what he does in January. And if there's a budget there, I'm assuming there is, because we obviously went for Matson, didn't we, on deadline day? So there's obviously some budget there.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
see
believe
what
we're
he
still
does.
in for Martin, by the way. So we'll see how that goes.
As long as he chooses not to stay and fight for his place again.
Yeah.
Which has gone well, hasn't it? But we'll see in January. I am only 60-40. I'm not 100% there. But I am starting to see a lot of reasons why.
To be fair, it's a good point, good debate that you both had there. I enjoyed it, and Liam as well. Just some good news though, just to perk everybody back up a bit. Burnley under whatever the academy are beating Birmingham. There you go. Beating them 1-0. I hope to God you don't listen to this in the morning. I hope to God you don't listen to this in the morning when they've been dicked 4-1. So we'll see. Well, there's been a lot of debate there about the game, a lot of debate about the issues, a lot of debate about Vincent Kompany. But one more thing I do want to discuss is off the pitch. I don't know if the Everton fans are still in the chat. It'd be good to get their perspective on this. But there was a lot of Everton fans in the home end. Now, it's been happening quite a few times this season. I have not had an issue with it so far because there's been no Everton fans near me. But apparently they sit in places. I think it's the top left of the Jimmy Mac as you sat in it, and they are escorted from hospitality. So if you get seats in hospitality in one of the suites, you then get escorted through the ground up to there. So there was a lot of Everton fans there, and they were kicking off, causing scenes, causing fights, and things like that. So it's interesting that the club have put out a statement about it, going to do an internal inquiry. Yeah, I agree, Georgia. That does need to be talked about because it's not on, to be fair. And if they're kicking off in the home end and scaring kids, it's one of them. It shouldn't really be happening. A lot of people putting in comments about how Everton fans are in there. Why do we think it's happening? For me, it's this new way of selling tickets, selling them at the start of the season, all at once. Every game's been sold out ever since, and then you get Evertonians coming on Twitter saying things like, "Oh, well, you weren't sold out because this fake journalist was saying, we got an extra 550, and then there's Everton fans in the home end, so it quite clearly wasn't sold out." What's clearly happened is people have bought them all at this stage, decided that they couldn't go, then put them on the ticket exchange, and then bought them through there. So it's obviously something that the club's got wrong, in my opinion. To try and fix it, if you're going to buy something off the ticket exchange, you have to have a Clarets number already, and can't be from the area of the team that you're playing against. Tough shit if you are and you haven't got a ticket already. Or if it still doesn't work and people are still finding ways around it, scrap the ticket exchange and scrap the fact that you're allowing away fans in the hospitality to then be escorted up to the home end. Blackburn Rovers, sorry for swearing, they do have an away-only hospitality. Obviously, it helps that they have an away-only stand, but that would be a good way of doing it, having an away-only hospitality where they just shove all the away fans in a certain part of the hospitality, lock the door, and don't let them out. Stuff like that, I think, would be a good way of doing it. Neil, your thoughts on away fans in the home end? And Sam, I know you've got football training soon, so we'll try and wrap it up pretty quick. But Neil, your thoughts, please.
If they sit and behave and be quiet, I don't really. It's not their fault. The tickets are available, so they've bought them, but it's not on. I think it is down at the ticket exchange. I've seen on socials today, there's people saying stuff like they should have photo ID or a name on the ticket or something like that. That might help, because I don't know how they're sold on the ticket exchange, whether it's just, do you get the original one or is it just literally transferred over to you if you buy it? I don't know. Maybe it could be that you already have to have a certain number. I don't want to get into that debate, but a certain number of loyalty points, or maybe you have to have had a purchase history or something to be able to get them. Some sort of mechanism that allows you to use a ticket exchange, whether you've got to be a member already or something like that. Not so it just can't be anybody just buying them. Some sort of mechanism so that you already have to be known to the club to buy off it. If they're going to use that, would be the way to stop that, I think.
Yep, fair enough. Sam, your thoughts, mate?
It's just asking for trouble, and it mixing two teams together and putting them in the same stand. Like, that's why we don't do it. So the easiest thing to do would be set up a system where you can only buy home tickets if you support Burnley. And like Neil says, like, put your Clarets number in. Like, that's instantly a good way of doing it. But yeah, it's just strange, isn't it? Like, me personally, there's no reason why, and I know some people might be different, but there's no reason why I would ever look at a game and go, I ain't got a ticket, I'm off in home end. I just wouldn't do that, because it's just stupid, isn't it? Like, if you score a goal, you can't even celebrate to a degree, and if you do decide to celebrate, then
you get battered.
Yeah, but
it depends where you're at.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't want anyone to get hurt, but it's like, if you're going to try and egg on, like, 4,000-5,000 people all sat in the same stand as you, when you go and watch your team play away from home and you sit in the home end and then you celebrate a goal, it's like, well, what else? What other kind of reaction would you want? Do you want them to pat you on back and be like, oh, well done, mate, your team's doing really well? Like, obviously everyone's going to be annoyed. So I think there needs to be a clearer system to sort this out, because it shouldn't happen, and it doesn't happen everywhere. So why does it happen with us? That's the thing. So clearly the club's got something wrong when it comes to tickets this season.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to get your points on it, Liam. Obviously, being now you've moved away, so you'll obviously struggle to get tickets when you're over. But I feel like it's a bit of an Americanism that, fans sit together. So maybe the new owners thought, if we do it in small numbers, it will be okay. And it hasn't worked out like that. I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate again. I'm not really sure why we are allowing it to happen. Like, we've all seen the video that I tweeted on Sunday of the Everton fan. He's in his 30s and he's acting like a child. It's pathetic. And I don't mind people if they can sit there and fans can do it and can behave. It's never really bothered me. But if you're going to act like a kid, you're just going to ruin it for everybody. And I just think now that exchange should either be scrapped or completely changed to prevent it from happening. It's happened a few times now this season. This is the first time, admittedly, where it's boiled over. But, the straw that breaks the camel's back, for me, it's got to change now. But Liam, your thoughts, please, mate?
I'll be honest, I've not really got too many thoughts in it, really. Like, you guys have already said a lot that I can't really add too much more to. Only thing is, like, I think this has always been the case. Like, when we play against bigger teams, so like when we play Liverpool's or Everton's or teams around us, or City, United, it's kind of always been like that. I think that there's always been their fans in the home end. Especially when we were pretty bad as well. There were tons of Liverpool fans in the home end and United fans, tons of them. So I don't think there's much anything that's been different just because of pace. It's just a case of having clubs them size around us and they just want to get tickets, and especially as we're doing pretty shit now, fans are saying, yeah, I'll give you mine for 30 quid. I think that's what's happening, to be fair. And I know 2-3 mates of mine that they've got tickets and they're like, oh, I'll give it to my mates. We're playing Liverpool on Boxing Day or whatever, aren't we? So it's like he's giving his ticket away because he's going to go be with his his missus instead, like, because he just don't want to go anymore. My brother, he's sees ticket holder of his missus. They're not going anymore. My mate of mine as well, like two of them actually, like, they're not going anymore because they'd rather work and make money. They'd rather work than watch Burnley. I mean, I don't blame them, because we've played how many games at home this year? Is it 9 or 8? We've won 1.
Too many. For the first time this season, I understand that, because I know it's an away game, so it's different. But for the first time this season, with me working in sort of like sports broadcasting, I don't like working when Burnley are playing. So I do a lot of work at the weekends. But I always say to the company that I work for, no, whether Burnley are playing home or away, because I will watch it at work and I will get animated and I will start, like, if Burnley are losing, getting annoyed and stuff. Whereas this Saturday, I've actually said, yes, I will work, because if Burnley go 1-0 down, I'm just done now. So I'm like, whatever. So I kind of get that, but I do think it is because of that. I think it's a ticket exchange at the minute. People are selling them on there, and fans of other clubs are picking them up. And I'm not going to sit here and criticise an entire city, especially the city of Liverpool. My blood type will be found out, and I'll be crucified. But it's the same mentality between Everton fans and Liverpool fans, that they will both be in the home end. And we've seen it from Everton fans. It will be the case on Boxing Day as well. But yeah, Sam needs to go, so I'll start wrapping it up there. Neil, thanks for coming on the show. Sam, thanks for coming on the show. Feel free to just close it whenever you want, mate. Liam, thank you for coming on the show. Burnley Till I Die says, greetings. Sorry, mate, greetings, but we are going now. We are wrapping it up. But if you have just joined like Burnley Till I Die, when I press the end stream button, it does stay on YouTube for you to watch back at your leisure. And I will be uploading it as a podcast straight away now, so you can listen back to whenever you want to, or if you want to just do it in the morning on the way to work or college or school or whatever, you can do that. But thanks. He's gone. Not even waiting. Not even said bye. He did wave, really. But thank you very much. Jorge Rodriguez. See, beautiful pronunciation, that. He says, great job, guys. Thank you, mate. But yeah, thanks everybody watching. Thanks everybody listening. Please remember to check out Wave Car Finance if you're looking for a new car. As I've said before, I got my new car from there recently, and I cannot recommend them anymore. But if you do, make sure you mention Turfcast Podcast, because you will get £200 worth of Burnley FC merchandise. So thanks everybody watching. Thanks everybody for listening. I will see you for the pre-game show, if I can find a Fulham fan, on Wednesday or Thursday. Goodbye.
Good luck.